Well, no one's ever questioned how mechanically skilled the players on TME are, and obviously last year you had a player like Suzaku in the top lane. But when JB, or JLC for that matter, decided that he was going to make the switch to TME, Trevor felt like that was a piece that they were missing when they had their run last year. And that missing piece really has tied the team together. The team is a lot more cohesive as a unit. They enjoy playing with each other. They enjoy being on the same team. And they all want to win. Their final goal, obviously, is Rampage. And the 4-0 start is pretty much the fastest way to get there. Obviously, Mineski was the Philippine representative for GPL this last spring. And they showed that they were strong, especially with the reverse sweep of IPT. But we'll see what happens today.
Oh, okay, so welcome back to the Pro Gaming Series 2017 Summer Split. Drive your energy, and we'll be your shoutcasters for the last match. I am Vulcan, and joining with me is Atlas. What an interview that was.
Yeah, like definitely like the Dark JLC going on to TME is the missing piece that TME needed, but that's also a huge hit onto IPT's strength, because JLC is one of the most mechanically skilled players in the Philippines. So IPT losing that is actually a huge hit to their power. Of course, Suzaku is still actually quite potent as long as he's not facing JLC. That's the curse. But we'll be looking into this last match of tonight. It will be IPT, Imperium Pro Team versus AEX, Acclaim Empire X. So this is like how they're facing here is like that was from last year. That was from last year, but I still think that this matchup is going to be explosive.
Yeah, that's right now IPT is entering this summer split with a double curse. The curse that Suzaku cannot win against a team with JLC, and IPT right now is going to be facing AEX, another rivalry, and also to really settle the score this time in the last match.
Of course, coming into that, the schedule, this is the last match. Of course, that is also the hashtag for our share and win promo. Just share the stream on your timeline in Facebook publicly, and you might get the chance to win one of 5 mystery gifts. So just share the stream, gaming.youtube.com/phgarena/live. Also check the official PGS page. I think that's Garena Pro Gaming Series. Just check it out for more updates on these kind of promos, as well as the streams of PGS. So just pay attention to that. Of course, coming into this matchup, it's going to be very interesting looking into this. It is our last match for today, so what other matchup can we have other than Acclaim Empire X versus IPT? We're going to see, because right now IPT is sitting at 3 points with 3 points with 4 games, so that's a 2-0 and a 1-1. So coming to this, they really need to prove themselves, and Acclaim Emperor X, this will be their second match, and they can actually either take it away to 5 points or go for a 1-1 or just go for a 0-2. So this is actually gonna concretize the positions of one of these two teams in the PGS rankings.
Yeah, so do you think we're going to be seeing one of the really clutch games between AEX and IPT? I mean, IPT actually demolished AEX in the spring split where they're moving on to the finals. So IPT, they mowed everyone down and reached the finals, especially AEX. Let's see this time, will it be the same scenario again, or will AEX will be strong this time, knowing that they do have a new player? And who is that player, Atlas? Mirmo.
It's Mirmo. Playing with Mirmo. Got you there. Got you there. But that is, Mirmo is actually quite impressive. He was before on LCL and DLSU. The thing is, he was rank 1 challenger at some point. So that actually cements him as one of the strongest possible 80 carries. And coming into the PGS now, he has a lot of potential coming on AEX.
But he does have that attitude problem. That's one of the reasons why LCL did not recruit him. But let's see this time, entering the PGS, has he matured, and can he step up facing against IPT? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
In a short while.
Because I think this year, this entire season, it seems like this is IPT's weakest split so far. Weakest, not just split season so far, but after all these roster changes, well, losing JLC I think was a huge hit. Even if they can have Suzaku, who's also mechanically apt, that's still a huge hit to them. We'll see if after all those roster changes, they can recover their momentum coming from Season 6. Because last split, they weren't performing up to par, and now they're having quite a lot of trouble. Even in the games they win, they're kind of shaky. So we're gonna see if they can clean their performance up coming into the summer split.
So to our viewers out there, remember you just saw the share and win code. Make sure you get on your Facebook page and share it publicly in your timeline with the stream link that you are watching right now. Not just the code, but you also need to share the link that you are watching. It could be the gaming.youtube.com/phgarena/live, or it could be the Facebook live stream that you are watching right now, and share it publicly, and you can win yourself a mystery gift.
And as I said, 1 of 5. So there's going to be 5 winners for each mystery, for each share and win. So since we have 6 games for today, and there should be around 30, there should be 30 winners. That's a lot. So you have a lot of chances to win. So just share that stream. Just use the hashtag as well. Share it with your friends, your family, your other LoL friends who don't watch the pro scene. They might learn a lot from watching these pro games, especially now it's going to be IPT versus AEX. 2 strong teams, undeniably strong teams. Your friends that are like hard stuck gold or hard stuck silver might learn a lot from this game. Even challenger players can have a lot to learn from the pro scene. So just share it with everyone you know.
And also knowing that the level of gameplay in the PGS is getting really increasingly good. I mean, compared to the previous splits, I gotta say with confidence that PGS right now, the skill level has been increased a lot. The competitiveness is also really difficult, and we just seen how Asian Arena, the newest team, actually how fair they did against Mineski.
They can have a clean game, but they still have a lot of room to grow. And actually, the entire Philippine esports in League of Legends teams, they still have a lot of room to grow. But I think they're at that point where they can compete in the Southeast Asian region, in the Garena region. After all, we did reach the semis against Kuala Lumpur Hunters in GPL. So it's quite impressive that we didn't just get knocked out immediately in group stages.
Yeah, the reverse sweep that Mineski did against Ascension Gaming was something really impressive. And they ended up with a 3-2. But now, let us go on to the drafting phase.
Of course, AEX versus IPT already bans immediately against Colette, as well as the flex ban of Galio, Suzaku against either Suzaku or Light, but I do think this is a ban against Suzaku. On the side of IPT, banning against Mirmo's Zaya, as well as Zac against Tomsu, because you saw how Tomsu proficient on that Zac just from last year. But now that Zac's actually a lot stronger in this 7.11 patch, is actually more potent, so that's an insta-ban against not even just Tomsu, but for any team, Zac is an insta-ban. Lee Sin against Colette also banned out. So a good spread of bans between these two teams. The Syndra banned out against Awaken too. So yeah, very good spread of bans throughout these positions.
I'm pretty excited to see how Mirmo is going to play in AEX.
Yeah, I'm really excited
knowing
to
that
see.
he did reach rank 1 challenger in the Philippines server, and also has been recruited from the LCL team. Now onto AEX. High expectations coming from Mirmo. Let's see how he fares against IPT, which have the discipline in their players.
Yeah, they have a lot of experience behind their players, like Light, Hate, Suzaku, Shadow. All of these players have restraint, as well as the experience to know when to go in, when not to go in, because it's not just game knowledge, it's also the empirical experience that they have. As well, AEX here, immediately going for the Kazakhs, they prioritize that, while IPT responds with already their bot lane. So this leaves AEX open to reveal their own bot lane without giving out too much information. But this does say a little bit that AEX wants to go for something aggressive. They have the Lucian, they have the Rakan, and the Kazakhs already. It seems like they want to go all in these team fights already just from these 3 picks.
Yeah, if IPT sees an opportunity to pick a Lulu support, they will always, most of the time, go for it. Especially, we've seen how IPT their play style really suits the composition around that Lulu. But right now, we're seeing a hover on the Gragas.
That's going to be a lot of utility if they lock this in. Not just from their bot lane with that Lulu and the Ashe, but also the Gragas, who has a lot of disengage potential and the really good solid front line.
And now, let's get on to the second phase. A ban on the Shen for AEX.
Against Cannon, that will be the ban. It seems like the Shen actually could put a hamper in IPT's plans here, because so far, they lack damage. And the shield from the Shen, the protection as well as the pressure, the map pressure of that Shen, if they let it go through, it might be a lot of trouble for IPT. They ban out the jungle or top lane Jarvan as well. On the other hand, AEX bans out that that cannon, which is actually very potent. We'll see what their last ban is here, because we saw the cannons today, the top lane cannons. They have been popping off. The Rengar as well will be banned out against Kulit. So a lot of high early game pressure junglers taken away from Kulit.
Oh, and that is the reveal.
Oh.
It would be a jungle Gragas instead. So the last ban on a Rengar has been, in my opinion, kind of a wasted wasted ban, knowing that their IPT already has their
very
jungler.
good flex. I really like how they flex the Gragas pick at the end there. Now, if they do lock in this Renekton, it's gonna be so potent, because in 7.11 all of the quote-unquote bug fixes on Renekton have been reverted, because
bug fixes.
Those bug fixes actually made him worse.
Man,
it made him slower.
When he uses the empowered Ruthless Predator, he gets stunned longer than the opponent.
Yeah, especially if they have Merc Treads. So that they did fix that in 7.11. So now Renekton is back in the scene with a vengeance. We'll be seeing how Suzaku fares on that champion, and AEX. And they're drafting here. It seems like it will be the top lane.
Sejuani, the top lane against Renekton.
Very tanky, but not as ridiculous pre-nerf, pre-hotfix.
Yeah, but still, in the laning phase, Renekton is going to be losing pretty hard if he does not manage properly.
Very good tech pick against that Renekton, the Sejuani. Plus, they are able to stack up the Permafrost pretty decently with with Tamsu. So on that Kha'Zix. So having at least 2 melee champions is good enough for that Sejuani.
So we're gonna be seeing Awaken on our Orianna against Light on that LeBlanc. I mean, we can't always ignore that Light is one of the best mid laners in the history of BGS.
True.
And now that you are giving Light LeBlanc one of the really dangerous champions, if that champion snowballs, it's pretty much game over for the enemy team. So let's see.
We'll be locking that in.
Yeah.
Plus he has a teleport, so double teleport for
Oh,
IPT.
that spells trouble. Let's see how AEX is gonna fare.
Yeah, because Awaken is picking up the Ghost for roams as well as a little bit more mobility. And I think Mirmo and Vanguard are going for an aggressive rush level 2 and then immediately engage onto IPT Hate and Shadow, because they did bring the Ignite, and this is Lucian and Rakan, which is quite potent and all-inning at level 2. So I think that will be their game plan here. So it's going to be up to IPT Kulit and AEX Tamsu to really dictate how the lanes are played and prevent all of these natural lane matchup results, because obviously Mirmo and Vanguard are going to go for the early level 2, and IPT Light will overpower Awaken just from the champion matchup. So it's going to be up to the junglers to really cut down these advantages and equalize the lanes for their solos.
But if we're talking about the bot lane matchup, I gotta hand it to IPT's bot lane even more because of the Lulu support.
The Lulu is quite potent. It's just dangerous, very dangerous, that if Mirmo gets a really good level 2, early level 2, and then gets that snowball going on that Lucian, it's going to be very hard for the Ashe to actually get back. So that they have to be careful not to fall into that trap. Because earlier in today's games, I do remember that there was a lane that didn't pay attention to the early level 2 and left themselves open to it. So that is something that they have to watch out for.
And that's something they have to warn also. I mean, when you talk about a game matchup where a jungler heavily influences the flow of the game, you have to expect it. But guys, before we go into the Rift, I mean, it's very interesting to see AEX IPT at it again.
It's definitely a matchup I've been waiting for in this summer split. We're going to see how all of the changes to both of these rosters, how they fare against each other, which this will actually be a statement for how the rest of this split may go, depending on how good either of these teams perform. I think the win part is secondary. It's how they play just the macro and micro as well that will dictate how well both of these teams have developed. Of course, we'll be seeing how all of that plays out once we load into the Rift. Course, we're loaded onto the Rift for this final match of the night, AEX versus IPT. We will see how these teams have grown since promos and relegations and spring split, and this is still like a long-time rivalry coming from last year. We'll be seeing how both of these teams, with their changed rosters, fare.
I mean, if we're talking about rivalry, in my personal opinion, I think it was already settled in the spring split. I mean, IPT demolishing AEX.
Yeah, but so this is like AEX's opportunity to get back at
Now
the-
it's just time.
Yeah.
AEX, they have to take the revenge from IPT, but I don't think IPT is going to let AEX have their way with them.
Both of these compositions are very potent, actually. If one of them gets the lead, it might be hard for the other to get back, especially this is LeBlanc and this is Renekton. If either of them gets behind, it's so difficult for them to actually do their job. On the other hand, if AEX gets behind, the Kha'Zix gets behind, the Lucian gets behind, they might just get overpowered by the rest of the carries on IPT side. So it's quite explosive. It's like a seesaw if things go wrong for either of these teams.
And not to mention for AEX's side, they have Mermu, a new face to the PGS this time in the summer split. Now, being rank 1 challenger, you have to perform through that expectation. Let's see if he will.
Yeah, he was rank 1 around a season ago, so he has to he has to prove himself here coming into AEX in the summer split. We'll be seeing how all that plays out. After all, even though that, yeah, these really mechanical bot laners, these AD carries in particular, it's still the AD carry has little control over how the game flows. Like the supports get more impact in how the game is played. The junglers definitely are the ones that have the most impact. So how fares is not going to be a vacuum.
Oh, here comes Shadow, overcommitting to his harassment. Gets really chunk of his health down.
Of course, Vanguard gets a little bit of punishment of his own, so it's at the end it's kind of even in terms of the support harass. Both of these are running the Ignite, so really they do want to go for something aggressive. They want kill potential there in the bot lane. Seeing this mid lane a little bit standard here. Light is kind of weak still at level 2. That is a LeBlanc. On the other hand, Awaken has a really good trading potential in the early levels because of her passive, with a Clockwork Windup just giving her a little bit of bonus damage on her auto attacks. So it's quite Light still waiting to get all of his spells up.
And for Time's side, I mean, right now, I think Suzaku is trying to return the favor that AX did.
Might just
spotted, though.
He's putting down some vision against Tamsu here to make sure he doesn't do anything sneaky. Because I do think IPT predicted that he would start bot side around the Raptors or the Red. So at this point would be a good time to really ward the jungle entrances and exits so that Renekton cannot be ganked too easily.
Yeah, and this gives trouble for Tamsu. Knowing that you're on a Kha'Zix at level 3 or 3 minutes into the game, you want to have your first gank or first blood.
And because he was revealed already by Suzaku's really like decisive and gutsy ward there in the blue side jungle.
Oh, but still, looking at the minimap, we're still seeing Tamsu pathing towards the top side.
Seems like he did a loop-de-loop behind the blue buff, blue buff camp, which allows him to go for this Krugs. And besides,
oh boy,
Suzaku cannot leave this top lane. Because of the way the pathing works, Kulit has to be around bot side, right? Which means that even if there was a ward there and he gets spotted out, Tamsu might still be able to go for this Krug steal.
But Kulit in the mid lane is still looking for the right time to gank, looking at the minimap so far. But let's see who will be the first one to dictate the lane. Tamsu is very low, so that's out of the question.
Gank that, Renekton.
Yes, and now it will be Kulit in the mid lane. Will Light get the first blood? Pops the barrier of Awaken. He's pretty much happy with that. And a flash too. So, but now, in the bottom lane, there is the Ignite onto Hey, trying to walk away from the fight. And we see the damage coming from Shadow. And there it is, the first blood to IPT.
Man, in the end, even with the fight reset, the Lulu actually is more potent in terms of continuing the fight rather than the Rakan. And because Hate backed off and didn't even waste his heal because he was ignited, he knew that he had enough health to actually power through that DOT. And then, because Shadow, decisive ignite, before Mirmo can get the chance to heal, he ignites him, finishes off the damage with a Glitter Lance and the passive of the picks. So very well played there by IPT's bot lane.
The mind games are at work right now in the bottom lane. Mermu did not judge it properly, but handed to Shadow with that Lulu. I mean, Lulu running the Thunderlord's Decree. It's really hard to gauge that damage.
Yeah, it's much more painful than what Rakan can bring out, even with the really nice CC of Grand Entrance. And I think Mirmo and Vanguard get a little antsy here because Hate was ahead of him in CS by like 2.5 waves, which kind of pressured Mirmo into trying to go for a play. So in the end, it didn't really pay out for him.
But when it comes to in the long run, I think the First Blood is going to help out Shadow even more, knowing that he can build faster compared to Vanguard. Let's see a side stone or a control word.
Interesting. Because earlier, Hate bought the BF Sword, and he undid his purchase instead to go for Boots and Vampiric Scepter. Seems to be going for a little longer lane here in the bot lane.
Mobility and lifesteal.
And lifesteal, just survive against Mirmo's poke, as well as his all-ins coming from Vanguard.
And it's going to be very difficult for Kulit to gank the bottom lane, knowing how Hate and Shadow, they're trying to deny or freeze the lane, but it's difficult knowing that that is a Rakan.
That is something that they have to keep in mind in this matchup.
Oh.
Kulit still trying to go for something here. There is no vision for AEX's side here.
He does not have his flash, so he can't use that really nice combo. But waiting for the right time.
Will AEX get a good read on this? Seems like they're backing off quite distantly, but
that would be a signal back for Kulit.
With how IPT was playing that wave, Hate was still staying even with a huge minion advantage on the side of AEX. So that did signal Tomsu that something was up. Here comes Suzaku though. Suzaku.
Here comes the 3-man gang.
Something.
Oh, that was a crucial dancer missing by Light.
Suzaku still staying around for some reason. Just taxes one caster minion from Light. Has to get back to lane fast though. He still has a substantial, or rather a half a wave lead over Cannon. And I think he'll be coming back to lane a little bit too late to save his own wave.
Yeah, but it's the fact that Kulit opted for the boots of mobility.
Yeah, going for all these ganks.
Going for all these rotations, whereas Tamsu, as a Kha'Zix, 7 minutes into the game, no single assist yet so
He has been power farming very well though. At 42 CS, being able to counter jungle a little bit against Kulit. Kind of compensates for that, but still, losing out on what, 300, 150 gold is kind of bad for a Kha'Zix, but it's not terrible just yet.
When it comes to the mid lane, I don't think any jungler is going to opt for a gank, especially Tamsu, knowing that that is a LeBlanc.
Was that trade worth it for Cannon?
Pretty much.
Yeah, he did take a lot of minion damage.
He got the lifesteal for the Undying.
Yeah, but in the end, it's still Suzaku with infinite sustain. Rather, theoretically infinite sustain. Here comes Kulit, though. Might go for a gank.
Oh, and there's the explosive cast with a flash. Burned by Cannon.
Seems like the Ruthless Predator wasn't fast enough on Suzaku's side. But still, that's a lot of pressure onto Cannon here. It's still a huge cooldown for IPT, which leaves Tamsu open to take this blue buff. And no blue buff onto Light might actually be a huge cost on that mage mid laner.
Trying their best to push out the first third of the game, but it's very difficult. And knowing that, as you said, losing a blue buff to Tamsu, that's a big deal for Light, knowing that he really depends on that poke and harass, constant poke and harass.
It seems like it still will be going to Tamsu, while blue buff is still available in AEX, which is very potent actually, meaning that there's 2 blue buffs that will go to AEX. One onto Tamsu, which is also important for that Kha'Zix, and one on Awaken, which is great for that Orianna who wants to survive and stay in lane for a lot longer.
CS-wise, they're pretty much even, but it all really takes onto the jungler. And I think Kulit is trying to add some pressure, but it's very difficult.
Definitely very difficult here, because all of these lanes are pretty safe. And on top side, it's possible to gank for Cannon, but rather gank Cannon, but he's quite tanky. He even has the Ninja Tabis, plus
here it comes, a flash in by Vanguard for the charm, and here comes the teleport from the top lane, backfires, and now AEX is backing away because Suzaku is there to scare them off.
They did scare him away. I do think Suzaku might have been it might have been better for Suzaku to cancel the TP, because the TP already did its job of pushing them away from the fight. So now he has to walk all the way up there, rather recall and then walk all the way back up there. It's possible that for IPT, they could have gone for a dragon play there, but the problem is that was Mountain Drake. It will take forever, and even though Cannon doesn't have TP himself right now, it's still going to be very dangerous if Suzaku opted to instead go for that 4-man Drake.
The art of war.
So it's still going to be the top lane having to go back. Teleport kind of not really wasted, but he could have saved that cooldown by canceling it.
It wasn't very rewarding, but when it comes to the long run, I don't think that's going to be a big deal for Suzaku, knowing that he does have that crazy lane sustain.
You can just stay in lane forever with how much health Kuldamik gets back to him. He is running at Fervor as well.
Oh, that's why.
So he will be doing a lot of damage against Cannon, who still has to spend mana on his spells on that Sejuani. So he's definitely gonna get pushed in to his own turret. And it's actually quite hard to CS under turret as a Sejuani.
Yeah, knowing that you don't have much mana too, so we're seeing Glit and Light approaching slowly.
There's no vision on AEX side for this. Seems like Vanguard and Mirmu were expecting it. They were thinking like a minute ahead and recall. Wow. Good play coming from the AEX bot lane because they immediately know that Light left lane. Kulit is nowhere to be found right now. So there's a good possibility that they might get 4-man gank. And recalling even there gives Mirmo a good back timer for the Cutlass and the Recurve Bow. And actually denies 1 or 2 kills from IPT.
And we can see on Hate side, he has yet to recall, gonna be recalling soon, finishes off that Cutlass. And Atabi, more defensive side, does not go for the Recurve Bow yet, so...
Oh dear.
Oh wow, 2-man gang coming in from IPT, and also 2-man Shockwave by Awaken. There's the explosive cast, no finish up yet, it fails, it backfires with a double kill for Tamsu.
What a great counter gang coming from Tamsu. A follow-up for the Shockwave. Just wow.
The smile on his face.
And Light and Kulit die for both. It gives a double kill. That was the 2 kills that Tamsu was looking for. This actually gives AEX the ability to push down this mid lane turret and definitely get the first turret of the game.
That is huge.
That is decisive coming from AEX after a really great counter gank. And after that, they're going for more. They might get this Mountain Drake.
AEX eyeing that Mountain Drake. This is the team that used the Rift Herald to end the game in less than 20 minutes. Maybe we'll be seeing the exact same thing. Who knows? But hand to AEX to execute that rotation properly.
That was so clean. That counter gank from Tamsu was so clean, and it's good on Awaken to dodge crucial skill shots, get really good rotations on his shield to block as much damage as he can, and the 2-man Shockwave. And Kulit and Light still went for it, and that gave all the time for Tamsu to walk all the way to the mid lane. But here comes a gank coming from Kulit top.
But does it work? Cannon is so tanky.
Yeah, and Suzaku, dangerous amount of health there after taking a few turret hits. The Glacial Prison did miss by a mile though, so that's one big cooldown of Cannon away. It seems like they might continue this top lane siege, but Kulit has other places to be.
Oh, this is just trouble. I mean, you give a lead on Tamsu, especially at Kha'Zix for double kill. That just completely, the amount of gold that he was missing is just gone right now. He just got it up immediately. On top of that, a first turret of the game.
I guess being forced into power farming for the first few minutes of the game actually paid off, since now he has 81 CS plus 2 kills. So that was a really good timing on the counter gank for Tamsu.
And also a first turret. 210 gold.
Yeah, I really liked how they played that. Like, get 2 kills, 5-man push the mid lane, and then get the Mountain Drake. That was just way too clean. Now IPT needs to recover from that, because their map is quite open at this point. Tamsu getting the tracker snipe as well gives him a lot of ability to place the deep vision. And because the mid lane turret is gone for Light, that just leaves him a little bit more free to do that.
Really, we are seeing a steady aggression coming from AEX. But for IPT's side, they have yet to respond to it, but they did try to establish some dominance in the mid lane to the bottom lane. But just so slippery, the targets right now. And now, Suzaku gets spotted by Tamsu.
But Tamsu also gets spotted out here. Gets down the control
the Rift Herald.
The ward here. The Rift Herald is a huge target here.
Oh, look at the timer right now, Atlas. Nearing 15 minutes. If AEX gets the Rift Herald, my god, we might see a full-on mid-push.
The thing is, though, the reason AEX was able to pull off that Rift Herald 18-minute finish was because the composition of the opposing team was meant for late game, meaning that they had a very weak early and mid game. Here, IPT has a quite potent mid game, very passable. So even if they get this, I don't think an 18-minute finish is possible. But still, it's a huge objective to take, and it doesn't seem like Kulit is in a position to contest that. He's down here bot lane.
Yes.
They have to make this worth it.
Will this be a dive? They have to take the turret plus a kill onto one member.
Oh!
Vanguard goes in. Just what Gulen was waiting for. Vanguard flashes out plus a stun onto Vanguard.
That wasn't the optimal way to stack that CC. Because Vanguard was already in that position near the turret where dodging is impossible. So he should have just left the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and then used the explosive gas to follow up on it and bring him closer to it. But now, it actually, because they didn't stack their CC very well, Vanguard lives to see another day, and this actually, meaning they lost the Rift Herald for almost free.
A lot of pressure it's onto the bottom lane, but we can see Tamzu in the top lane really waiting it out, baiting out Suzaku.
Definitely something they have to watch out for. Now Suzaku, because he didn't get any early kills, it's going to be very hard for him to defend against a 3-man plus Rift Herald push.
They might just go on till the inner top lane turret. They're not going to be rushing at all, knowing that 2 members are still in the bot side. Hate and Shadow really focusing to the turret. Change to Vanguard. He's very low. Shadow secures the kill for him with a flash heal out from Hate.
But now this might be 2 turrets on AEX's side.
Oh boy, here comes Suzaku trying to retaliate, but cannot deal with 3 members. Poking him down, trying
on his way though.
Down the Rift Herald.
So that is that turret save, but look at the chunk damage on that. They do get the revenge of 1 turret bot lane on top of a kill onto Vanguard. The gold is still very close. So IPT isn't out of it yet. Definitely not, because they have quite a substantial CS lead top lane, bot lane as well. So if they can keep, as long as Suzaku stays relevant, and Light as well, he needs to be able to get more kills. And that's up to Kulit. But it's been so difficult.
Oh, a flash by Kulit, forcing out a flash. Is very not something that you want from Kulit.
But they left themselves open.
Yeah, here it comes. There is Hade with the wild growth with the teleport coming in. Suzaku will be joining in shortly, but not so much. Awaken with a shockwave, cleans up the team fight, and Suzaku is a bit too late. He goes down, giving a double kill to Awaken.
Leaving themselves open to the quickness coming from Vanguard. Followed up by a 3-man shockwave. I don't know why IPT played right into AEX's hands there in the mid lane. And I don't know why Kulit tried to force a kill with a flash onto a support on Vanguard. And maybe he was trying to buy some time for IPT to push down that mid lane turret. But still, leaving themselves open to cannon as well, since they didn't have vision around that side. So he was able to teleport and just easily get the engage on them. IPT not quite playing up to par, and AEX just cleanly taking advantage of those mistakes. Not just mechanical mistakes, but the positioning as well as the warding.
And now we're going to be seeing AEX returning the favor from last split. The sweep they did against, the sweep that IPT did against AEX might just be repeating itself, but let's see, will AEX sweep this time?
It's definitely harder for IPT's composition to get back. They are, as I said earlier, if the LeBlanc and the Rezuzit and the Renekton fall behind, it will be very difficult for them to be relevant against Cannon, against Awaken, against Tamzu. And this composition, it seems like AEX is, the game is working out in AEX's favor right now.
Yeah, and as the game goes by, the relative of Suzaku's usefulness as a Renekton is slowly disappearing from the map, but knowing that Tamzu was able to get a double kill at the start and a Mountain Drake, that's huge, and it just goes to show with 2 turrets on top, on the belt for AEX.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Oh, bullseye!
Mimir just got the stun, but there's the shockwave, follow up from Awaken. AEX fighting back strong with IPT falling into the trap of AEX, and now with Hate trying to fend off members. Mimir gets a double kill.
They're still
might
going.
go in for a tower dive. Here comes Tamzu. Does have to leave. Now will be a flash tower dive by AEX and an ace.
They tunnel visioned onto Mirmo there. They had a great Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but all of that, they played right into the quickness, right into the shockwave. And they're just a repeat of what happened earlier. A repeat of what happened where they got baited into getting into a shockwave and getting into the quickness. And all of that actually results in an ace. A Baron buff decisively. This is the second time today in this day of PGS where Baron got taken down within a minute of it spawning. And that was because of decisive shot calling coming from AEX. Look here. Of course, they leave themselves open to a shockwave, which further leaves themselves open to a glacial prison, which also leaves them open to the quickness. They cannot underestimate the ultimates coming from AEX, and that's exactly what they did. They tunnel vision onto a great CC against Mirmo that they left themselves open to everything else. And that's just what AEX wants you to do, is tunnel vision, because that leaves Tamsu open to clean up, that leaves Mirmo able to DPS left and right.
Wow, that was such a clean setup from AEX. I mean, despite catching off Mirmo, the shockwave was such a game changer.
Because the shockwave mitigated any sort of damage that would have gone onto Mirmo. Of course, naghihingalo na siya sa the tail end ng fight na yun. He was like blinking red. But he was able to survive with the help of his team, locking up the Iron Solari, the lifesteal coming from Blade of the Ruined King, the protection coming from Cannon, and this is the power of the top lane Sejuani.
And wow, it's pretty much a huge kill score lead, not to mention also gold in favor of AEX. But will IPT fight back? What are their win conditions? What can they do right now?
Their win conditions here are very difficult because their win condition from the start was to get Light and Suzuko head and snowball them. But Kulit, his ganks were... he tried. He had really good ganks, but they didn't result into kills because AEX was playing their lanes quite safely. The barrier on Awaken just makes it, just digs it even deeper that yes, we're gonna play this defensively so Light and Suzuko cannot scale, cannot snowball. And Cannon being there in the top lane just shuts down any sort of kill potential that Suzuko has. So I think first, they got outdrafted in the top lane because they picked the Renekton early, while Sejuani is now enabled, plus it's also very powerful in this patch. And because Kulit, and the way that AX has been playing, means that IPT cannot go for their win conditions, because their win condition is to get a really good engage by Hate, which is followed up by Suzuko and Light. But here, they're quite behind. They cannot do that. 9,000 gold lead to AEX.
And they're also crumbling under the Baron power play.
Yep. That was such a good power play after an ace.
Here comes the teleport. Cannon will be joining the fight shortly. The ultimates are up for Cannon, also for Times. All members ready to go ham if they want to. IPT, though, they can fight back, but they have to rely on the Kulit for the disengage. If ever Cannon does go in, and watch that ball! And Hate flashes out of it.
Clutch flash there, but I don't think the shockwave would have hit. But still, better to be safe than sorry. And that is one huge cooldown from both teams. From AEX.
Suzuko goes in for the slice and dice combo. Banger gets stopped, but here comes the tower dive from AEX. We're seeing Murmur trying to chunk down the turret's HP, and see a dive from Tamsu. Suzuko flashes out with Kulit in the front line, trying to zone out the members of AEX. Here is the Permafrost, no follow-up from Tamsu, setting the eyes onto the inhibitor.
This is actually a win onto AEX. They lose Vanguard, but they get a turret.
Here comes the flag! IPT Light goes in for the ADC. Mirmo goes down. Tamsu just running away with Suzaku. Really low from that team fight with Light getting double kill. That might just be what they need to give him a head start.
Yeah, a little bit of, they claw back into the game with this, but still they lose.
Oh!
Never mind. That's still going to be 3 for 2 in favor of AEX. But still, in the end of that, the inhibitor gets taken down, the turret gets taken down, IPT is still on the back foot in this game. Because look at here, they get a really good engage, but Cannon pulls so much threat as a frontline. Plus, look at Vanguard, just fearlessly going in with the quickness, charming everyone, which just leaves Mirmo open to continue pushing down this turret. And after all of that, of course, Vanguard loses his life, but it's really worth it for AEX because they get the inhibitor. While here, Cannon doing a very good job of preventing any sort of re-engage with a body slam from Kulit onto Mirmo. But here comes the teleport play. Suzaku and Light go in. But it's not really the most efficient way that they use their burst. They definitely could have gotten Tamsu there on top of just Mirmo. And at the tail end of the fight there, Suzaku got taken down by a sneaky Awaken. And even though that was something that IPT used to claw back into the game. They're still 8,000 gold behind. And rather 9,000. The thing here is that if that fight happened while they were even, while IPT and AEX were even, it would have been a huge win onto IPT.
Look at that. Focusing on Suzaku. He gets taken out. Zone out. Single out also. So that's one guy down for IPT. AEX full on 5 members. Still very healthy. Has their ultimates up except for Tamzu and Cannon. Whereas IPT, they don't have Suzaku anymore.
Yeah,
Not to
that's
mention
one of their huge front lines taken away. Kulit cannot frontline alone against this sort of composition.
Oh, here comes the inhibitor turret in the bomb lane. Very low on health. Gets taken down. Cannon is there. And here comes Vanguard with the quickness. Charms everyone, but Kulit is there for the explosive cast. Light goes in for that. Manages to get away with Vanguard very low, forcing him out of the team fight.
Look at all those shields and all those heals. Vanguard survives with a sliver of health. And they get what they came for. They got the inhibitor. Now they're going to rotate that to the mid lane. Going to extend their gold lead now to 11,000, 12,000.
Gotta fight back strong. Kulit trying to look for the right time.
It seems like they don't have the tools to just completely engage onto AEX. Now they have to pull away. Baron will be up in a minute. So AEX really good at the timing to pull away from the inhibitors. That's still a lot of pressure onto IPT. 2 inhibitors down.
Oh boy.
Mean that IPT
Top
is going to
side.
be hard pressed.
Topside base though, very low health for the turret. They gotta defend that.
Yeah, and I don't think IPT can contest this Baron once it spawns.
Too late.
Oh dear.
That gets taken down.
And now it's going to be a 12,000 gold lead still. They're fighting.
A fight in the Baron pit with only 3 members. You paid a heavy price.
Oh,
a shutdown
Light.
for IPT Light.
Gets taken down. They're still going for Shadow at this point with a permafrost.
He's not getting away there. Easy kill.
Vanguard takes the kill. Man, I don't know what happened to IPT this game. Because they overcommitted to a lot of fights they should have been more tempered with, having more restraint. Because we talked about earlier how IPT had the experience of the restraint, but see, it seems like in this game it wasn't showing. They focused a lot onto shutting down Mirmo, which left them open to get counterattacked by Awaken and Cannon. And I think having their top lane being irrelevant just because Cannon picked the Sejuani is actually something that they had to watch out for. But they picked the Renekton early, and they got absolutely counterpicked. As well, in the early game pressure, Tamsu was forced to kind of power farm, but because Kulit really antsy on the ganks, doing really well in the pressure, but as soon as he went for that overcommitment in the mid lane against Awaken, and they got counter ganked for a double kill, that was when the game started falling apart for IPT.
Yeah, and whenever Renekton is 0-4-3, his effectiveness is gone out the window. So
down the drain.
Yep, and the Cannon is coming on top with a look at that KDA. 1-1-11, almost 2. That's a huge kill participation from Cannon, whereas Suzaku really behind on a Renekton.
It's definitely all the nails under the coffin of IPT. Gonna be hammered down once AEX gets his 3rd and final inhibitor.
The inhibitor is gonna be taken down with only one Nexus turret left. Here comes the engage from Garena with the Glacial Prism. Does not kill anyone yet. It will be Awakened with a burst from the Orianna. Suzaku in the middle, trying to burst down members, does not succeed.
Mirmo
with Awakened, getting a triple kill. Very easy. Shadow is the last one remaining. A double kill and an ace for AEX, securing the first game of the last match of the 2nd week.
Wow, that was just AEX playing this so cleanly, taking advantage of IPT every time they faltered. AEX, rather Tamsu, was there to just cut their kneecaps down every time they tried to stand up.
That was cut their kneecaps down.
Cut their knees down, rather.
Yeah, so a bit of a digest of what happened,
Yeah.
Atlas. I mean,
It's quite a lot to take
it's quite
in.
a lot to take, and we did see that the early phase of the game was pretty steady for both teams.
Yes.
But that small mistake in the mid lane that gave Tamsu the double kill, the first turret and the mountain, that's huge gold value.
That was just a trifecta there. 2 kills, mid lane first turret, which is actually huge, the hugest turret you can ever get in the early phase of the game, and Mountain Drake. So that was like a Triforce that allowed AEX to snowball into the game. And
The Bermuda Triangle.
yeah, that was IPT's Bermuda Triangle. they fell into that trap, trying to take down Awaken, because they spent so much time trying to take out Awaken, already burned the barrier, already also burned a lot of his mana, trying to go for the Command Protect, but they still went on it. They still went on it, which left them open for a counter attack with a Shockwave, and Tomsu just followed up cleanly.
And look at the damage to champions. Awaken ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, he's really pulling off these great Shockwaves.
And looking at LeBlanc is a single target burst, not an AoE. Still struggling, and the damage from IPT was lacking. That's why they can't clean up the fight in time, and that's why they've given first victory to AEX.
And I think after this, AEX can still keep doing what they're doing. Keep taking advantage of mistakes of IPT. While IPT, they have to recalibrate. They have to reset how they play into this game. Because that game, they were overcommitting a lot. I cannot stress this enough. They were taking fights that they should have had more restraint with. They could have, of course, and an example here is when they got a really good Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Mirmo. They could have positioned themselves in a way that wouldn't leave themselves open to a double Shockwave. They could have played that without overcommitting onto him, because that was a long stun, but there's a lot of support systems for Mirmo. So I don't know, that was just one example. They did that a lot, overcommitting to something that they shouldn't overcommit to.
And you get hurt from that. Overcommitting to something that you should not invest too much time on. And guys, what a first game it was for the last match with AEX. Really, I gotta say, from the smallest mistake that IPT did, they capitalized it so well, and with great macro play, they were able to get the first victory of the last match. Don't go away, we still have our second game. We have been your Shoutcasters. I am Vulcan, and joining with me was my co-caster, Atlas. We'll be back after a short break. Mirmo just catches that, but there's the Shockwave, follow up from Awaken. AEX fighting back strong with IPT, falling into the trap of AEX, and now with H trying to fend up members. Mirmo gets a double kill. Like going in for a tower dive. Here comes Tamsu. Does have to leave now with the flash tower dive by AEX. Nice combo. Banger gets stopped, but here comes the tower dive from AEX. We're seeing Mirmo trying to chunk down the turret's HP, and see a dive from Tamsu. Silicon flashes out with Tulin in the front line, trying to zone out the members of AEX. Here is the permafrost, no follow-up from Tamsu, setting the eyes onto the inhibitor.
This is actually a win onto AEX.
Flag goes in for the ADC. Mirmo goes down. Tamsu just running away with Suzaku really low from that. P5 was live getting a double kill. That might just be what the
fighting.
A fight in the Baron Parade with only 3 members. You paid a heavy price. A shutdown for IPT live.
Gets taken down. They're still going for Shadow at this point with a permafrost.
He's not getting away there. Easy kill.
Vanguard takes the kill.
Engage from Garena with the Glacial Prism, does not kill anyone yet. It will be Awakened with a burst from the Orianna. Suzaku in the middle, trying to burst down members, does not succeed. With Awakened, getting a triple kill, very easy. Shadow is the last one remaining. A double kill and an ace for AEX, securing the first game of the last match of the second week.
Wow, that was just AEX playing this so cleanly, taking advantage of IPT every time they faltered. AEX, rather Tamsu, was there to just cut their kneecaps down.